So, welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews. We'll discuss with local business leaders their backgrounds, their successes, and their challenges, and what's really driving them forwards. And I'm really delighted that this afternoon we've got coming back to speak to us again is Tom Belt, who's founder and managing director at AAWE. So, Tom, firstly, thank you for coming back and spending a bit of time with us. And if you'd like to introduce yourself, AAWE, what you do, how you help people, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, that's great and great to be back, Chris. Thanks for having me. So AAWE, we are customer experience specialists. We're based in Leeds, but we operate globally, really. We've had clients in the south of the UK, but as far as Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
And what I mean by customer experience is ultimately wherever your customers interact with your business or your brand or your
Yep.
organization, that formulates the customer experience. So
Yes.
it's online, it's offline. And what we try and do is help businesses grow by making that better. Because more often than not, that's a real engine for growth. There's a lot of research out there that says that businesses can grow as much as 5 times quicker when they are seen as customer experience leaders in their space. So we help brands diagnose what their customer experience is today, then
Yep.
we help them design what those improvements might be, but then we also work with them very closely and their internal teams to start thinking about how they can improve their ways of working to really use customer experience as the engine of growth from the moment that we start working together to the point that we leave.
Brilliant, brilliant. So what would make a great client for you? What are the sort of the people that you help best, would you say?
Yeah, so I'd say that if you feel like you've got growth ambition, but you may have some question marks about how you achieve that growth. So it may be the case that this growth number has been given to you from up above,
Yes,
and you're not really sure how to make that tangible in terms of the actions that you have day to day. Or it might be the case that you've looked at marketing, you've looked at different activities that you've maybe used in the past, and you're not quite achieving what that growth objective is and what you're trying to achieve. And really, customer experience might be something that's on your radar, but that might not necessarily be something that you have expertise in delivering yourself. So I think we talk best with clients who understand the value in it, but not necessarily understand how to make it actionable and make it part of their day to day. And so that's what we're trying to be really the specialists, the kind of go-to experts in that space alone. We're not trying
brilliant.
to step outside of that remit and work in advertising or marketing or whatever it might be.
Yep,
We just really want to specialize in customer experience, and that's the clients that we really feel like we work best with.
brilliant. It's something that we talk to a lot to our clients about is that, and you mentioned marketing, but people will naturally have a marketing budget to get new clients, get new people to put their hands up and hopefully become clients. But don't spend or don't allocate a budget to keep them. And it's like, if we're not very good at it, it's like we always describe it as like filling a leaky bucket. You're
Mm.
working furiously to pile, prospective clients and clients into the top of the bucket, but they're all leaking out the bottom because once they've had the products or service, they're not particularly impressed. And so
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And
no,
we find we typically work with clients that are focusing on one of four growth areas. So it might
yep,
be acquiring new customers.
yep,
Now, like you said, the leaky bucket analogy, you've taken the words out of my mouth. More often than not, people are invested in marketing and maybe they're getting them
yep,
into a funnel and they're not optimizing that funnel from that point onwards. And that's where we might help. But also we help people retain customers after you've actually acquired them. We also work with people increasing the value of their customers. So
yes,
it might be the case they buy one product from you and you want to get them to buy multiple products from you. We can think about the experiences that we can design and create to help you do that. But also, we work with clients at reducing the cost to serve your existing customer base. So we work with a bank down in London who have 1 million customers today. Their ambition is to get to 5 million customers. If they have the cost to serve each individual customer as they do today, as when
yep,
they eventually have 5 million, the business will fall over. So they need to think about
yes,
ways to help customers digitally self-serve. And that's what we're trying to support them in creating.
brilliant, brilliant. Absolutely something that's so important. I work with a client at the moment, and we talked about this exactly this point of it's not just about getting the outcome, I getting the results. It's enjoying the experience of doing so. And if we don't have
Mm.
both, then we've got clients at risk, and it's something that they've really maximized, or they're working on maximizing. So Tom, we spoke about 10 months ago, sort of September last year. We mentioned, and I'm keen to know what's changed for you in the business since we last spoke.
So, funnily enough, the biggest change has not been business related, although it impacts business. I had a baby girl.
Oh goodness, that
Yeah,
will.
around 8 months ago. So I've kind of experienced in a life of being a dad and a business owner, and so I feel like I've got two equally demanding children now, and yeah, just trying to navigate that world as best as possible.
Brilliant. Well, I'm sure anyone that's owns a business or runs a business and as a parent will at both celebrate and sympathise in equal proportions. It's a challenging thing with a young child, isn't it? It really is, and really lovely times to celebrate. And in terms of the business itself, any particular key challenges that you've had to face in the last 10 months?
Yeah, I'd say just generally, obviously, as a B2B organization, we're working with clients, and the general economic outlook has been
Yes,
quite a challenge for
yes,
people. A lot of people who have been maybe optimistic in the past are maybe being a little bit more reserved around what they want to look at
yep,
in the future. And I think we've just really had to double down on the fact that every project we've ever done for any client has delivered a return on investment.
yep,
So we really need to be leading with that messaging rather than necessarily some of the other core benefits that
yes.
might be had from working with us. So that's been a real challenge for us and something that we've really had to
Yeah.
learn on.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So I mean, in the market in general that we're seeing, it feels like people aren't necessarily reducing; they're just postponing. If that makes sense, they're not. They
Yeah.
still plan to spend. Obviously, that's what they're telling us, but they're still planning to spend. They just want to wait a bit, and it's very frustrating. I find across all the sort of sectors and businesses we work with is that they're just really frustrated by the fact that the clients definitely not say anything negative either about them as an organization or even the project that they're talking about. They're just taking the time to press the button, which is tantalizing, I think is probably the right word.
Yeah, exactly. I think people plan based on certainty, and at the moment, I
Yes.
think not many people have much certainty within their businesses, unfortunately. So I think once they get a clearer picture, I
Yeah.
think it's just from our perspective, just trying to continue to be as supportive as possible, and then we're always there to be able to help them deliver the return on investment on any piece of work that they do with us, because that's what we
Brilliant.
do and what we've always done.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, makes lots of sense. Lots of sense. And what would you say your key wins are since we last met?
Yeah, so I think we've had a big win from the business perspective because our revenue so far this year has outstripped previous years.
Oh, well done.
Um, yeah, we're already only 7 months in, so I think for us, the key message I'd like to have for anybody who listens to that and says, "Oh, that's amazing. How do I do that?" I would say we've not done anything over and above what we do day in, day out. We've just
Yep.
almost kept our chips on the table as a
Yep.
business, and we've stayed in the fight, if that makes sense. So
Yep.
we've been going around 2.5 years now, and like gradual momentum, organic growth just
Yep.
happens, and kind of this revenue that we've been able to generate this year has purely been based on existing clients who've come back to us, spent more money,
Brilliant.
or some people who've come out of the woodwork that from a conversation that we had 6 months ago, 9 months ago. And
Yep.
sometimes it just really is a matter of waiting until everything lines up perfectly, and that's just what you've got to be able to be patient and wait for.
I think it's bang on. It's a really good message. It's as you say, sticking in the game, accepting that things may be delayed, managing that process. Not always easy to manage because it's going to have potential hits on cash flow, etc. But keeping going, it's really key. Um, and I find entrepreneurial people aren't particularly good at celebrating their wins. How good would you say you are at doing so?
Awful, because I don't think I've celebrated anything that I've just described to you. Because I think it is just part of the nature of the entrepreneurial mindset, isn't it? It's just you believe in better, therefore you think about, okay, I've done this, it's gone well, but what's next? What can I do differently next time? How can I make it better? And then and keep going from there. So even today, I'm working with people and been able to use the revenue that we've generated this year to invest in the future. How do we build a more consistent pipeline? How do we PR our agency to raise awareness of what we do more and more? How do we build out an SEO strategy so that people who are casually looking for customer experience specialists in and around the Leeds area or the north of England, how do they come to us rather than anyone else? Not that there are anybody as that we see as direct competitors, but
Yeah.
again, just trying to build momentum, and that's all you ever think about, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I get that. As I say, I think entrepreneurial people we tend to be looking at what we've yet to achieve rather than what we have achieved. And it's always and that's it sort of goes with the territory. The challenge is if we don't celebrating for me is about building resilience. Um, so we have something to look back on because we're celebrating. And we know it's there, but the celebration actually sort of cements that step in the process of saying, yeah, we did that, we achieved that. So yeah, no, I do advise lots of the entrepreneurial people I work with to do their best to celebrate, and it's great for our teams too. The people around us
Yeah,
they want to see that happen, and in many ways also our customers, because sometimes the customers don't necessarily see us as successful businesses. They're just delivering a delivering a service to us.
yeah,
And I think it's good that they can see that, we're really good at what we do. And it's not just their experience that we're really good. They can see that from a commercial perspective broader than that. And so, you mentioned wins and challenges. What would you say you've learned from both or either over looking backwards?
yeah. I think for me, what I've learned best is probably that I need to understand where we need help,
Yes,
and how we can kind of double down on our growth and keep continuing to grow. So
yes,
I think uh, being able to actually understand that these are some blind spots in my understanding, these
yes,
are areas and opportunities for me, and therefore these are people that I need to bring into the business to help
yep,
support me. I think that's really, really important because I think, again, back to the entrepreneurial mindset, sometimes we feel like we can do it all on our own because we started life on our own. And I think that can only limit you in the long run because you'll
absolutely.
either left burnt out or you won't realize your full potential. So I think that's what I feel like I've tried to take from a lot of this year and try to learn from and try to action within the business. And then alongside that, I think sometimes the plan is half the battle, especially for me
Yeah,
and my
yes.
personality. So I think coming to a world where, yeah, I've gone out, seen the market, see what I feel like my blind spots are, identifying this is the people I need, and then we get build a plan and then kind of let it run from there is often, like I say, half the battle. And I think taking that away from how what we've achieved this year has been important for me to understand as well.
Yeah, brilliant. I think there's a quote. I think it's from Warren Buffett, the world's known to be the world's greatest investor, which is something like an idiot with a plan will always outperform a genius without one. Uh,
Yeah,
so a
yeah,
genius with a plan is going to be like super duper,
yeah.
and it's the only way you talked. I mean, you talked a little bit earlier about surety and a lack of surety in the marketplace. That a plan is the only thing we've got to give us a level of surety about the future. I think
Mm.
without it, we are just at the whim, But if we say this is what we're going to do, at least we've got some surety and a way forward that we believe will give us a return on the efforts that we're going to put into place. And it's so
Yeah, exactly.
it's so difficult when things are so fluid and fluctuating. But I think just having something that we can focus on and do our best to deliver is so important.
Yeah, and I think on bringing people into your business, especially as external consultants, for example, Warren Buffett has another great quote in terms of he doesn't invest in businesses that he doesn't know how they make money because he doesn't know if they're a good business or a bad business. So I
Yep,
think there's so many resources out there now that can get you to a level of understanding where you can identify a snake oil salesman from actually a person who's been able to support your businesses.
yep,
So we I've got a PR agency, and before I went out and tested the market, I made sure I read a PR book. So at least I got
brilliant.
a level of
Yeah,
understanding that I'm not going to do PR for myself because I know there's experts out there, but I'm able to have an educated conversation. I'm able to have
Brilliant.
an educated guest. Same with SEO. There's like free half-day online tutorials that you can do, and you get a level of understanding that
Yep.
then can go away and understand these are the people that are actually going to support my business, and these are the people who aren't. But you don't necessarily have to go on and take the burden of the work yourself,
No.
if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense here. We talk about mastering it. If you master it, understand it enough to ask better questions of the people that are doing it, so we can at least hold them accountable, understand when maybe they're stretching stretching things and not allow people to just. And if without that, we are sort of abdicating responsibility, aren't we? If we just go, right, I believe you're good at what you do, I'm just going to let you do it. We're abdicating some of that responsibility because we should be participating in the process without needing to do it. You're absolutely bang on.
Yeah.
But
And
mastering.
I think
So
that's what we try and do as a business and add value because we say you might have a core product, you're exceptional at delivering that product, but more often than not, there's a whole experience that goes around delivering that product to your customer. So, for
yeah,
example, we've got a client who is a car sourcing company, and now I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert in cars or what makes a good car makes a bad car or how to source that car for a customer, but I will tell you exactly what a customer will expect every time that you interact with
yeah,
them and
brilliant.
how you can make that interaction better either through whatever channel the customer may be choosing to engage with you on. So that's kind of the value that we bring. So I'd like to think that other people could bring that value to my business as well.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. And if you might remember from our last conversation, I love to collect quotes and sayings of people. We've already highlighted a couple there, but do you have any other favourite ones that you catch yourself using on a regular basis?
One that came to mind is I don't think it's a particularly famous quote. I think it's maybe one I invented, but I think often entrepreneurs set the altitude of their own mountain, and really you define your own success. So I think if you can climb your mountain and it may be a lower altitude than people might expect, at least you've set your benchmark, you've achieved what you wanted to achieve, and you can define that as a success. I often think your Jeff Bezoses and your Mark Zuckerbergs of the world and Elon Musk, they're sociopaths. Like, we shouldn't judge our level of success
Yes.
against those guys. Like, if you have got a successful business that pays the bills, gives you time to enjoy your family,
Yeah.
and relieves a lot of pressure from you from a financial perspective, and you enjoy doing it, like that can be as equally fulfilling, as equally successful as basically collecting money that sits on a spreadsheet and does nothing more than that.
As somebody that works directly with owners of owner managed businesses, we work in this set, 100% agree. And one of the first things we always do with a new engagement is do what we call an alignment, which is aligning the business goals to the personal goals of its owner, which can be whatever we choose, because that's the main reason and somebody starts a business is to give them the lifestyle they choose to have. So let's define it, and that lifestyle. Often it doesn't require huge amounts of cash. Often it does require some income, but also things like how much time do we want to spend. The beauty of owning your own business is you get to choose exactly how it is. You could choose how many hours a week you spend in the business, but also, especially with a young family, how much time you can spend with family when we choose to. And the number of business people and business owners that I've met, they're actually already at or close to achieving their goals without realizing it is quite nuts in many ways. It's like, no, I've got another 10 years of this. Well, why? You've just told me you wanted all of these things. The business can deliver those things. Why don't we just make that? Now, that for me is success. Success isn't, as you rightly say, the collection of just huge amounts of cash that we can never spend. That seems. I was listening to a guy called Bernie Sanders, who's seen as the very far
Yeah.
left wing senator or whatever he is in the States, and it really is interesting. We're talking about over taxation, high taxing, low taxing, and he said, I don't think anybody should ever own more than £1 billion, $1 billion, because you
Mm.
can't spend any more than that. So why anybody would want more than that? And obviously, there's lots and lots of billionaires. that doesn't make sense when it could be redistributed. And it's very, very, very well, quite left-wing view, but you just go, oh, that's interesting because a billion is still a lot of money. So it's not like that person hasn't got
Yeah,
aspirations and
what would you
wealth.
need more for? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and whether you brought that to 100 million or 10 million or something, it's quite an interesting thing to identify. And I think most of the people that we work with, as I say, it's more life that they're looking for than it is it's just money, because money is just something you can't eat it, you can't live underneath it. It's just something that is really important to understand, that how much of that we need to do the things we really want to do. So I think you're absolutely bang on.
Yeah.
And
And I think on the flip side of that, I think you could interact with other business owners and they're talking about revenue and increase in headcount, etc. That doesn't actually translate to a successful business for the business owner,
the
and therefore and profit and take home, etc., etc. And sometimes when you're especially in the world of social media and in the world of promoting yourself and networking, etc., you can feel disconnected from that in some ways where you're always talking to people who've got a positive spin and always smashing it and always growing. But is that growth sustainable? Is that growth the right way that can actually benefit you as a business owner?
Absolutely, it's defining what you want. Start what you want, and
Mm,
then start how the business can deliver it. That's key for me. The businesses that go past those points, um, it's unnecessarily effort. There may be I think the key thing is, though, it's okay. Use the analogy of the mountain. It's okay to climb this mountain, then decide you want to climb the next one. That's okay. It's not like we're limited, but let's
yeah.
just say, what do I want right now? And for many people, it's just I want what we did a survey quite a long time ago, but I'm sure it's absolutely still true now. And we asked a whole bunch of business owners what they really wanted from their business. And you may or may not be surprised that the large majority said peace of mind.
Yeah,
But it wasn't a mansion or a jet or a massive boat. It was just feeling things were going to be okay. And
yeah, of course.
I think it's yeah, it's quite interesting. So yeah, absolutely,
Yeah. And
absolutely,
then just to kind of double down on that in terms of like understanding your own level of success, I was reading some blogs over the past few weeks. There's a business called Liquid Death, which is a water brand that basically sells water in cans, and it looks like a hard IPA, but actually it's water. And they've built this whole business model around basically being a beer company that sells water, if that makes sense. And they'd been really successful in the States, tried to come to the UK. It didn't work out for a number of different reasons. And then they've basically folded their UK operations and gone back to the States. And everybody had blasted them saying, oh, they're a failure, they're a failure, they're a failure. Well, actually, hold on. This guy's started from scratch and's got a company that's probably worth 200-300 million quid. I think that's success to me. They
uh,
were never going to take over Pepsi or take over Heineken, but they've still got a hugely successful business, and
yeah,
he's done something that he could be really proud of. I think everybody should take another look at when we brand someone a failure.
yeah, completely agree. I absolutely 100% agree. And you mentioned earlier, just you alluded to, sometimes just surviving is success. Now,
Mm-mm.
obviously, if we spend 20, 30 years of just surviving, that's probably not as successful as it could be. But sometimes in certain difficult periods, it is just getting through. And I know certainly in sort of recessive cycles, it is just getting through and coming out the other side when unfortunately some other people may not. So yeah. So what else have you learned about yourself so far, would you say, Tom?
Uh, yeah, I think other than like the fact that I really value a plan and that actually sometimes you just need to know when to take a punt.
Yeah,
If that makes sense, like when you need to take a gamble, when you obviously it's an educated gamble, but actually activity breeds opportunity,
yeah,
and sometimes you need to just understand actually right now maybe. Um, Things are going well. How do we make sure that we're creating more activity to make sure that that's a continuing trend? Or it might be just a case of, oh, we're really quiet right now. What do we need to do to turn that around and be proactive and be positive and just actually make sure that you're putting one foot in front of the other and doing things that you feel like are going to ultimately whether or not they succeed or fail will be a positive contributor to your business.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Um, yeah, no, but absolutely bang on. And so looking forward a bit, Tom, what does the future look like, and what are some of the challenges do you think you might face, if any?
Yeah, well, I think there's always going to be challenges, and I think you've got to understand that right from the outset. I think
Yeah,
what I'm hoping for us going forward is bigger projects with more clients. We've got a great client retention rate, so I'm hoping to build upon that foundation and just to ultimately customer experience is a hugely important aspect of any business, but I think a lot of people might not necessarily see it as a core driver of their business or a core aspect of what they should be focusing on. So
yeah,
I just love to talk to more people who feel like this is something that they would like to look at and maybe interested in taking a punt. But like I said, sometimes you need to take a bit of an educated gamble. And I think based upon our track record, we always deliver a return on investment on any project that we do with a client.
brilliant,
If it's a diagnosing of their experience right through to designing an improved experience. So I think for us, the future will just be a case of hopefully building our client base and delivering more great work.
brilliant, wonderful. Well, we wish you absolute best of luck for the future. Is there any new initiatives we should be looking out for you guys, or is it really just, as you say, growing customer base, growing project size?
Yeah, I think that's fundamentally what we're trying to do. I think we're looking at ways to raise the awareness of ourselves. So we're looking at maybe some campaigns really focused around the idea that often when we talk about ourselves, talk about a business talks to their customers, they're setting an expectation of what it would be like to
Yes.
deal with us.
Yep.
And ultimately, the reality of interacting with the business, buying from us, using our products can be quite different, and there's a disconnect there.
Yep.
So, what we want to try and do is erase that fundamental understanding that often customers see you as a business very differently to how you see yourself as a business, and then helping businesses bridge that gap ultimately so that the expectation that you set with your customers is delivered within every touch point in the experience. So yeah, maybe keep an eye on that, and people might be getting later in a post or seeing something on LinkedIn, and yeah, hopefully engage with that. And I think it's a really important message around how brands grow fundamentally, but also a really important message around what we do as a business.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, Tom, it's been fantastic and really fascinating catching up with you, and wish you all the best for the future and the things that you're doing, and completely agree with everything we've talked about today. It's wonderful. And for anyone that's watching that would like to get in touch with you, what would be the best way of doing that?
Yeah, just reach me either on LinkedIn's always a great resource, Tom Belt. Our website's aawe.uk, or just email me, tom@aawe.uk. Always try and be as generous as possible with my time. I love, a bit like you, to talk to other business
Yeah,
owners, talk to other people in customer experience roles, marketing roles, just grab a coffee and then only good things come from it, even if it doesn't lead to us working together. I'm always just curious. So yeah, feel free to get in touch.
brilliant. Well, Tom, thank you so much for your time, and let's do this again another 10 to 12 months.
Yeah, it's already in the diary. Thanks, Chris.
Brilliant. Thanks, Tom. Take care.